Good afternoon, people. This is Clarissa Williams coming at you live again. I'm going to pick back up where I left off at yesterday. I told you guys about attorney Richard Allen, who has been, who's on my case, DSS case. He replaced attorney Sam Weldon, who I'm going to be going after and proving he had something to do with this falsification of documents and fraud and forgery and the kidnapping of Nadi Poo. Mr. Richard Allen, you said you're trying to stop me. You want me to, with this abusive discovery nonsense you got going on, trying to intimidate me and harass me and strong arm me. And I know my rights in this country. And like I said, there are some people in this state that's on the right side of the law. And let me say this, my governor, Henry McMaster, I'm not even sure if he's aware of what's been taking place. So I cannot blame him for what has taken place, because you can't be held accountable all the time for your corruptness. But when somebody has notified you and you fail to investigate, such as Michael Leach, then I have no respect for you, and I do hold you accountable for your employees' conduct. So with all due respect, Governor McMaster, this is not any type of intent to point the finger at you. No, but I am asking that you look into have an investigation started at Greenville County Department of Social Services and Family Court with those 3 judges I named. Well, actually, I'm going to name some more because I looked at some other documents, but we're going to stick with where we are right now, because my General Assembly needs to be aware of what's taking place and what has been taking place. And once again, reform. Every time I read an article, I hear you guys talking about reform. Even some of the judges are saying that it's an absolutely ridiculous shame for these people to have this much power and no one does anything about it. Why don't someone step up? Talk to parents like me who can tell you, who've been through this, and who can tell you how to create these documents and these forms so they won't be forged. There needs to be a date line on every document, and they need to initial every single page of every one of those pieces of documents. They need to stamp those documents with the clerk of the court stamp every single page, because you can stamp the first page and change all the other pages below that. Okay, so we need to make sure that nobody's getting their hands on these stamps. Okay, because I have some questions about these stamps. If someone has some stamps in their possessions, I'm not sure, and I don't like to say things if I don't have evidence about them. I can just say my opinion, and that's my opinion. So that needs to be further investigated. But let's go back at Ms. Judge Teresa Dunbar, because you want information about being corrupt, misconduct, a cover-up, and you forgot to put in falsification of documents, misrepresentation, misconduct, fraud and forgery, abuse of power. All that goes along with that. And I'm not shying away from what I said. Okay, so here we go. I told you all 3 of those judges lied, and I talked about it when you should have saw that video this morning. So let's get into it. We're going to start with Ms. Teresa Dunbar. Judge. Here we go. Ex parte order. I showed this yesterday. I also find that based upon this affidavit, SCDSS exercise reasonable efforts to prevent removal. You're supposed to offer a family services, a family, before you take their child. You're supposed to try to work with them to make sure that, as they say, their needs are met, and that you try to help them correct what needs to be corrected. I didn't need anything corrected. I needed you to stay out of me and my daughter's business with our doctors. Her primary care doctor had everything in order. He's a mandated reporter. He has to report abuse and neglect. He did not. So I don't know where this John Melville came from or how you grabbed him out the air, but reading cases with the Guardian at Lightens. Let's talk about Jerry and Jackie Lynn. They say he's done over 100 cases. Those cases need to be reopened, because this man is a liar, and I'm going to prove it too. But back to these 3 liars. You see that? I'm going to show you, so won't be no question. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I'm going to go at. I want you to look at that signature. Really good. Okay? That's Teresa. You want to know how your judge is lying? Who was that? Catherine, Tiffany. Let's read together. I also find that prior to the hearing today, that's when Judge Catherine agreed to take Nadia away from me and out of the state. DSS has made reasonable efforts to prevent removal of the child. Did you see that? 1/12. That was a hearing day. I'm going to talk about that hearing. She signed that. Number 2, you're a liar. You did not read that. Number 3. Okay, let's open this up. I've tried to take the name, so I don't want nobody saying I did not. Let's go back to Catherine. Let's go back. I blocked out Natty Pooh's name. See that? I don't play games. I'm not trying to go to jail. Why am I gonna be known as a liar? Because I can't stand liars. My children will tell you that. Don't lie to me. Okay? Let's look at this one. Give you proof. I want Mr. McMaster, please look into this, Governor McMaster. Look like you got a happy little family, and I want my family like everybody else. Okay? We're gonna look. See that? Rochelle Connors. Okay? Is that your name? They call it scribble scrabble all over this document. Really? Like I said, ain't nothing but a poor record keep. This is right. Take an ink pen and go crazy. Nobody stopped them, but they're gonna be stopped. Okay. Let me get back to this. I flip past it. I want you to see. Okay. Look. I also found that DSS has made reasonable efforts to prevent removal of the children. Did you see that? All three of them judges signed that. And here we go. Affidavit of reasonable efforts. I read this to you. DSS did not have prior knowledge of this family prior to the removal of the minor child. That no services have been offered for the involvement of this family under the circumstances and based on the nature of the allegations. DSS had no knowledge. She said that twice, of this family prior to the removal of the minor child. Why would you make the same sentence twice? And DSS was unable to provide services to prevent necessity of the removal of the child. Now that's what Haley said in her affidavit of reasonable efforts. You see that? So I would like to know, ladies, can you please tell me? You said you agreed. What you agree with? To take my daughter from me. I need some answers. So I just showed you all the signatures. And we're going to look at 637-1660G. 1660G, what it says. If the court removes custody of a child, the court order shall contain a finding. Did you see that? By the court of whether reasonable efforts were made by the department to prevent removal of the child. And a finding, you got to find that whether continuation of the child in the home would be contrary to the welfare of the child. The order shall state. Did you see that? The order. So, Ms. Teresa Dunbar, your ex parte order, we're going to look for this language in just a moment. It said the ex parte order shall state. I was reading that. It shall state the services made available to the family before the removal of the child and how they related to the needs of the family. The efforts of the agency to provide these services to the family before removal. Why the efforts to provide services did not eliminate the need for removal, and whether the efforts to eliminate the need for removal were reasonable, including but not limited to contact with the child, reasonably adequate to protect the child and realistic under the circumstances. Realistic, I agree with you 100%, because ain't nothing realistic about just taking somebody's opinion. If the department's first contact with the child occurred under such circumstances, that reasonable services would not have allowed the child to remain safely in the home. The court should find that removal of the child without services or without further services were reasonable. Well, not reasonable about this. My daughter should have been placed with a family member while this lady investigated, starting October the 27th through December the 11th. That was her time, her 45 days. She should have placed her, if she wanted to investigate, she should have placed my baby with a family member. My daughter's and my favorite aunt, because she told DSS when this first went down that she wanted my daughter to stay with her. They wouldn't, because my aunt did not agree with them. She knew that they were wrong and they were overstepping their boundaries, coming into our life like that. So, with that being said, you did not read that, ladies. So I just proved to you your three judges lied. Attorney Richard Allen and the world. Now we're gonna get back into this ex parte order, because I want to see where she read all. She's supposed to put all that in here. Okay. Okay. That's what, if the court removes custody of the child, the court's order shall contain a finding by the court whether reason. Okay, what did you have, honey, besides that letter, that opinion from Dr. John Melville? And I'm going to post that, because I have that in my possession, his direct abuse, neglect statement. That's on an encounter note. I have that in my possession. I just found out I ain't supposed to have. I don't read that to you. I just found out I'm not supposed to have that. That man's name was not supposed to be revealed to me in his entire statement. That's how I know he's a liar, and that's how I know they all work together. Okay? Show me. It is therefore ordered. This is what you said. Based upon the foregoing, I find there exists probable cause to believe that by reason of abuse, neglect, there is imminent and substantial danger to the life, health, or physical safety of the child. Okay? Let me get her name out of there. This came before me on the 13th. So you saying Haley Lyons said she got the case on the 3rd, December the 3rd at first, and she ran over there. Okay, that was a lie. So if you had read this stuff, honey, you should have been able to probe. You competent enough to probe and say, well, why didn't you make offer this lady services? Why do you think we need to take this lady's child? And then that's when you should have said, well, let me see the statement. Let me see what you got going on other than the affidavit. You took this lady's word at face value, and you took my kid from me. So I just gave y'all some more reasons, okay? So I'm going to put these court orders up because they're in my way now, okay? I'm going to get them out my way. So let's move on through these court orders out the way because I just showed you. Okay, I can't find Tiffany. Where hers go to? Tiffany Connors, okay. So now let's go back. So now we're going to flip back over. Get back with Tarita Dunbar. Another code law she broke and she did not follow because she don't follow these codes. I feel like I'm the only one that know them. You know the reason I know them because of lying Haley kept referencing them. I'm like, what is she talking about? Look, ex parte order 63-7-740 ex parte emergency protective custody. They took my baby and said it was an emergency. Did you hear that? That I was really hurting my baby. I ain't put a hand on her. The family court may order ex parte that a child be taken into emergency protective custody without the consent of parents, guardians, or others exercising temporary or permanent control of the child if the family court judge determines there is probable cause to believe that by reason of abuse or neglect there exists an imminent and substantial danger to the child's life, health, or physical safety. You see, at first I read if, now I'm reading and. And means you have to, and. Parents, guardians, or others exercising temporary or permanent control over the child are unavailable or do not consent to the child's removal from their custody. So prior, did you see that? Do not consent of the child are unavailable or do not consent to the child's removal. How can I consent to something? So that means she had to have asked me something in order for me to say, yes, I consent to that. We know this is a flat out lie. And Tarita Dunbar, you're supposed to know this law because you're a judge. And your job is to uphold the law and follow it. You did not. You let this lady take my baby, and you and her both collaborated it. Here's the proof. It just told you. And you must have that and. Parents, guardians do not consent. There was no way I could have consented to anything because Haley said in this, DSS did not have prior knowledge of this family prior to the removal of the children. So how could I refuse to consent? How was I unavailable? She didn't know me. Can you answer that? Richard Allen? Michael Leach? I just done showed your both of these DSS and family court, I just done caught them all in lies. You need to give me my kid back. You need to stop this nonsense right now before it gets out of hand because I'm not going to stop with these papers. This is what they do over there. It's just so, it wasn't nothing but God sent that he picked me, as good as I am with contracts and examining documents, to catch these people in their action and in their criminal activity. This is a kidnapping operation they got going over here. So now we know. So you weren't supposed to do that, Miss Lady, were you? You weren't supposed to take my baby from me. So you broke some laws. And when you break laws, you get in trouble. So the General Assembly did not tell you to do that. You went against the General Assembly laws and you did what you wanted to do, okay? So we're going to move on, okay? We're going to move on to the next thing. Now, let me get back with Judge Tarita Dunbar. Now, you said, let me see, some plaintiff has submitted a sworn affidavit in support of allegations, and I have studied the information contained in the affidavit. You studied it. I studied the information. I also find that based upon its affidavits, DSS exercised, you see that? I want you to see that. So no stuff saying you didn't see that. Ain't no clerk of the court stamp on this. It's a court order. We're going to get back with that. Don't tamper with nothing. You see that? I also find that based on, and she said, this matter came before her on December the 13th, so they came in front of you, okay? So let's look at this verification and this reasonable affidavit. That's December the 13th. Look at this. This was signed by Haley. I know her handwriting very well. When was it notarized? Nobody swore that they saw her sign it to the following day. Miss Judge Teresa Dunbar, I caught you in another lie. So you signed this document without it being, you went by this document, it wasn't notarized to tell, for Haley to swear that she told you the truth. You need this because this is a sworn affidavit where she's telling you, I'm telling you the truth, Judge. And you went for that without having that notary signature. Do you see that? December the 14th. Look at this. December the 14th. They were null and void. So you didn't even have it. You didn't even have the proper documents you needed to take my kid again. You see that? I don't want nobody saying they don't see it. No stamp. No, which one was that other one? No stamp. We'll come back to that. That's what Haley hand delivered to me on December the 14th when she took Naughty Poo from school. Okay? So this just gets better. This is what they do in Greenville, South Carolina. It's going to stop. Okay? So let's get back over here. The girl, I ain't seen Naughty Poo since August. The person who has her, Judge Catherine H. Tiffany, gave them a court order to bring her to South Carolina twice a month, which pretty much every other weekend. I told her about this person's character and their history before she did this and their encounters with law enforcement. Didn't want to listen, did it her way. And now, August, September, October, November, December. How do you think she feels? She has no woman there, her mother, not to hug her or kiss her. She wasn't getting counseling. I checked. I had to argue with DSS. These people would not tell me anything about my kid. When I would call him, his phone was disconnected. He would not answer. I would ask him about her grades because I know my child, and I know she was crying over there for me. And she told me when we had a visitation one day, she said, I used to cry for you all the time, Mommy, because I used to cry for her all the time, okay? What else they didn't do? Her braces hadn't been tightened up. He had a court order to make sure her medical needs were taken care of. DSS didn't care. She didn't have her glasses for months. She needed her glasses because she left them at school or something when they took her, okay? Did you see that? I ain't seen her since August. Now, my public defender, everybody keeps saying, that's your public defender's job to make sure she files a motion for contempt of court. I told her about this Vanessa case in September. You think I've seen my baby yet? Something going on. They made a mistake by putting her over across state lines. And then I paid her $60 to file that motion for me. And they keep saying, well, you're not supposed to pay a public defender. And she kept giving me to run around. And I said, I'm filing an emergency motion. Didn't file it. Won't file it. This lady is, and you guys are paying public defenders to represent clients. It's kind of crazy because it's the same tax money, same tax dollar money coming out the same bucket. But put effective attorneys on that list. Don't put attorneys on there that's not going to represent parents and have these kids taken when they shouldn't be, like in my case. Okay? So let's look at the guardian ad litems. Jackie Land and Jerry Land. This is what came over when they appointed the guardian ad litem supposed to have the best interest of the child. These are nothing but harassers. They try to intimidate you, strong arm you, especially Mr. Jerry Land. His attitude was not nice. And on December the 16th, when we had that very first meeting, I forgot the name of it, you were very rude with my aunt, and everybody heard it and agreed to it. And I'm going to get all those names that was on that meeting where her caregiver said, I'm not able to take care of her because of my work schedule. Said it right there. It's on transcript or whatever you got, so listen to it. Told you guys that. I don't know if you shared it with the judge or not. But let's read. I found this in my file. I went up there on December 18th, paid for copies and got this. Didn't know it was sitting there. This is what the guardian ad litems have to abide by. Order appointed guardian ad litem, attorney for guardian ad litem, December 15th. Jackie and Jerry Land. See, General Assembly, stay with me. Don't get mad at me. Stay with me and commend me for doing other people's jobs. Now, it says that these people, because I've reported that I have not seen my daughter since August. My daughter loved that visitation site, and so did I. She did not like the first one because she said that she felt like she was in jail and it was depressing. So this other one was a beautiful setting. The ladies were awesome. We loved them to death. And I'm not going to put their names out there because they're some nice ladies. And Pooh Bear loved those ladies. So let me tell you, the Lands kept going over to her property without her consent. She told them don't come back over there the first time. They did it again. She told me the second time, don't come back. So she contacted their boss, and I asked her for their boss information because Nadia was intimidated and scared. Can you imagine? You done took my baby like some Russian militants, and you know she's scared because all she knows is me. And I sent their boss an email. I got it in my contacts and told them they were harassing us, intimidating us, and not to come back, and that the owners had asked them not to. The first time they did it again. Abuse of power. See, General Assembly, have people like me make these rules and share things with you. You just sit down there and you make laws. That's it. You don't know if they work. Talk to people. Put parents like me, caregivers, and when you're making these laws, and ask us for our input. I would be a good person. But let me tell you, let's see. So I read this like I always do. It says, this is what they're supposed to do. Mentor implementation of core orders and treatment plans to determine whether services are actually provided in a timely manner and are accomplishing the desired goals. Inform the court promptly through counsel. They're supposed to tell their attorney if the services are not being made available to the child, or family, if the family fails to take advantage of such services, or if such services are not achieving their purpose. This really, they club you upside your head when you don't do what they say do. That's what this is. If you don't do it, we taking your child. That's just and that ain't right. There's no oversight, no check and balances. These people just club you upside your head, throw you in handcuffs, and take your kid. Take this treatment plan, or you don't get your child back. That's what they're doing to me. Bring to the court's attention any violations of orders. Look at that. Bring to the court's attention of any violation of orders. Mr. Jackie and Jerry Land, you know I have not seen Naughty Pooh since August. I've brought this to your attention several times. I've even called your supervisor. I forgot her name last week. She has not called me back. She said someone from her office would call me back. They have not. I'm sure they know about my YouTube videos and my Facebook posts. Speaks the truth, because that's what I'm doing. Did you not know these people did not go tell the judge? I'm not going to say they didn't, because this is a kidnapping operation, so they all work together. So you didn't even try to make sure I got my visitation. So you can imagine the pain and suffering she's going through not seeing me. Did you see that? Now, whose signature is that one? I want to know what judge signed it. Because I looked, I don't see no judge's name like that. Sylvanie, Tiffany, Robertson. I don't know whose signature that is. Sure do. What judge signed that? What judge? Show me. I'd like to know. But you didn't do your job, and you're supposed to be having my daughter's best interest, and you're allowing this man to alienate my daughter and brainwash her where she can't see me. And for 2 Christmases, I didn't get to see her. Okay, so let's move on. Jackie and Jerry Land, I want you removed, because that's double teaming a person. Double teaming, and to me, that's a double harassment, because these people they don't have nothing to do. They retired, and they went to go see this Dr. John Melville, and I'm going to share their report with you, too, because they defamed my character and just literally said I was a mental ill lunatic because they wanted to close this case. This is what they do to people, and I got proof of this, okay? So I got some people that will probably come forward and attest to this. And they try to give me some mental medication, in the sense talking about if they prescribe some medication, I will take it. I ain't taking nothing, because I don't need no medication. I need you to get out my life and my daughter's life and give me my kid back, the one you kidnapped. Do you hear that? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I have a college degree. I've a real estate license. I've had side businesses. Now that I'm not in that moldy apartment, it's coming back together. Look at mold and see what it does to you. So let's move on. And this one got original stamp on it, so I know that one's probably authentic right there. But clerk of the court manual says it's not supposed to block anything, and you're supposed to be clear. So please put some ink in that, so they won't be tampering with documents. Okay, now, after I read this is the determination fact sheet. This is saying these are the facts we have against you. Now, I want you, what does that say? Case determination day. It's supposed to be within 45 days. That was 63 days. So on December the 13th, when they went to Judge Teresa Dunbar, that was 47 days. You didn't even find me guilty of nothing before you went in there with those documents, asking that lady to sign that. That's how Haley didn't pull this off by herself, people. Haley, you better tell on them. You see that? Indicated. As supported by the facts and observations. You ain't observed nothing. You just got a abuse report off that fax machine or in your box, and you just ran with it, and you just stuck that in there and typed that mess up and gave it to Judge Tarita Dunbar. You, Sam Weldon, and Casey Shaw collaborated this, and Tarita Dunbar collaborated this kidnapping, okay? These say facts. The agency became involved with the family on November the 3rd. I want y'all to see these dates again. Due to the mother, Clarissa Williams. We're going to get into this because I told you she lied. And then I showed you this date. Now look at this. On 10/27, Dr. John Melville, child abuse pediatrician at MUSC, said, in my professional opinion, once again, now he said in his professional opinion, this case is strongly concerning. Did you see that? Strongly concerning is nothing but to worry. I'm a smart lady. I was at the top of my class, honey, for physical abuse and medical neglect. This case is strongly concerning. So you took my baby based on somebody saying something strongly concerning? Mother's behavior seeking health care are inappropriate. When you get health care for your child is inappropriate, when she's sick and her primary care doctor tells you to take the child down to Charleston, South Carolina to see some specialists. Did you see what he said? Caseworker observations, client statements. That's it. That's all you got. That's it. Collateral context, MUSC. That's it. Malden City Police Department, because that's when she asked me to meet her, being deceptive and came up there with the police like I'm a violent person. Prism Health, what did they provide you with? Because I ain't seen nothing here about no Prism Health. That's another lie. Supervisory cases, decision staff, and I told you her supervisor, Casey Shaw, I'm coming after you. See that? I got something for you too, Miss Lady. Now it says worker signature. What is that, a stamp? Because Casey signed hers. You didn't, Haley, on that one. I don't know what's up. Then it says, we're going to flip this over because we're talking about October 27th. It says, because it says case decision, give the date the case decision, the date the report is received. Okay. So you got to put that in here. The date is received. You're talking Dr. John Mill. First time talking about a case. So count 45 days, December 11th, this case should have been closed. That's about 20 lines I done caught y'all in today. Now look at this. They said her life and health and physical safety was in danger. He just said inappropriate seeking health care. Now if you don't seek health care, that's called medical neglect. Now they're named all these doctors that they're saying I took my baby to. That was a lot of them, which they were because we both had specialists. And they're saying you took her. I did. So all those doctors, pretty much all of them gave me referrals to different specialists. So when I took her to the sleep medicine doctor, she had insomnia. Then they said she had sleep apnea. The sleep medicine doctor, Dr. Riva, I believe, gave her a referral to infectious disease. And we're gonna talk about infectious disease, hair thread. We're gonna get with that. Because y'all, we're going to get with that. So, look. I'm going to read this. Department of Social Services, Notice of Right to Appeal the agency's decision. Because 1229 to me. With this notice, you have received a determination fact sheet regarding investigation initiated on 11/3 and indicated, that was initiated on 10/27, stop it, and indicated on 12/29, still count the days. That's way beyond 45 days. The determination fact sheet contains a summary of the facts. Did you see that? Of the facts. Show me a fact. Show me a fact. What is the fact? My name. Because you lied. You said in that other report, in the affidavit, DSS received allegations on December the 3rd, which you typed that entire word out. Then you came back here and typed 11/3. That's just a deceptive tactic. An attorney, a law firm told me that this is what you do. They use deceptive tactics over there. So they's like, I'm not surprised. This is before I knew these. Now, let me tell you, everybody that's looking at this video, please go read South Carolina Section Code laws. Let me see if I got them. This is it. This is how I knew these people had wronged me. See that? So if DSS coming after you and your children, this is your Bible. This is where you stop them straight dead in these tracks. Stop them and get you an attorney and do like me. If you can't find nobody to fight for, you fight for yourself, the purpose. Any intervention by the state into family life on behalf of children must be guided by law, by strong philosophical and underpinnings and sound professional standards for the practice. Child welfare services must be based on these principles. Parents have the primary responsibility for and are the primary source for their children. I don't need to go any further. We're going to get back on this because I know I'm jumping around. Okay, now look, please read this entire letter. It provides important information about your case. The section Check below applies to your situation. DSS has recorded the investigation and the case decision and the confidential DSS case record. DSS did not, I want you to read that, did not place your name on the Central Registry of Child Abuse and Neglect. If you disagree with the case decision, you have the right to appeal the decision through an administrative hearing process. The law that applies to the appeal is that gives it 63-7-410 through section 63-7-1440. Okay, the person of the appeal is to determine whether DSS can prove. Did you see that? Whether you can prove it. You're supposed to prove it when you took it. By preponderance of evidence that you harmed the child or allowed someone else to harm the children or place the children at significant risk or harm. If you wish to appeal, in which I did, and look at that. Haley Rogers, Casey Shaw. If you have any questions, please contact the caseworker or supervisor. I'm coming after y'all. Well, I already got you, Haley. You going to jail. Here go Casey Shaw. I'm coming after you too, because you approved this and me, you talked, and you did some stuff too. So now if I did what I did and I hurt my baby and it was so wrong, why do these people say? Notice of right to appeal agency's decision. It says they did not place your name on the Central Registry of Child Abuse. Why not? If I'm a criminal like you say and I hurt her and I harmed her, and by taking her to the doctor, and then saying she received unnecessary medical treatment, I'm not a doctor, so I don't administer treatment. You need to go after those doctors because all of them are mandated reporters. And if they thought that I abused Nadia or neglected her and they didn't notify you, you need to go after them and they need to have their medical license taken. So any of y'all that come up in that courtroom, because they still trying to give me a hearing on, what is that? March the 3rd. They are still trying to pin these charges on me. I have been framed. I have been framed by Judge Charita Dunbar, Rochelle White Connors, Catherine H. Tiffany, Sam Weldon, Haley Rogers, and Casey Shaw of physical abuse and medical neglect. And this case, I don't care if I got to get the Supreme Court involved. They need to know what y'all doing. Goodbye. Oh, Clarissa Speaks the Truth. That's my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it and follow these videos and share them and post them, share them and post them, share them and post them. I want the world to see what's going on. Have a good one.